Hey everybody, it's Mr. C. I am going to show you how to take your information from Amplify about your Titanic argument and put it into a slideshow. All right. So, depending on what I told you, you might have one source and you might have two. Okay. If I only told you to do one source, just do one. And if you have two, you're going to do both. Okay. On the left-hand side from class, and hopefully all you guys have this, should be the source. It's the where you got your information. So my argument is I'm blaming Captain Smith. And so I use the wireless transmissions aboard the Titanic. I have my quote over here where it doesn't look too good for old Captain Smith. He's saying, "Shut up, I'm busy working Cape Race," where he's being warned about the ice. And then I'm explaining here the section of the text shows the Titanic was aware of the heavy ice and ignored the warnings. If you would have listened, you would have avoided disaster. Okay. If you're one of the students that only had one source, you could start with the slideshow. And if you had two sources, just double check that you have your quote, you have where it came from, and you have your explanation of why the quote you pulled is important. All right. All of you guys are very good at basing your arguments on facts, but your explanation puts it over the top. Okay. So we're going to move over to our slideshow here. All right. Now, the first thing you want to do is you're going to delete the thing that says argument in a complete sentence, and you're going to write your argument. As long as it's in a complete sentence and it makes sense, you guys are fine. You could write it a bunch of different ways, but I'm going to do this. I think Captain Smith is to blame for the Titanic sinking. Okay, it's an argument, complete sentence. We know what you're talking about. You're going to want to put your name here. You could delete name if you want. All right. If you are one of the students that only had one source, you can just do number 2 and forget about number 3. If you have two sources, you're going to have to do both. But you'll find this kind of easy, especially if you did what you were supposed to do on Amplify. All right. So what I'm asking for in these slides is you need to do a framed quote. And we've practiced that a lot. It's pretty simple. And over by my door, you see the piece of paper moving around there, getting moved by the air purifier. I have an example. You'll also have the example on here. So a framed quote is introduction, quote, source, and then your explanation. So you have 3 of those 4 things on here, and I'll show you how to do this. So I am just going to pick, first of all, I'm going to delete that. I'm going to pick the old boring according to the text for my example. So according to the text, that's my introduction, and I'm going to add a quotation mark. And if you did what I asked you to do in class, all you have to do is copy your quote from your source, and you're going to put it right there, and you're going to end your quote. Okay. Next thing is you're going to add parentheses and add your the title of your source. And so my title here is Final Wireless Transmissions Aboard the RMS Titanic. That goes in parentheses at the end, and there's a period. So right now we have your introduction. You have your quote right here. Oh. You have where it came from, and then all we have to do is add your explanation. What I was saying here is your explanation really hammers home the point of your argument, and you explain why the quote you chose supports the argument. And this is your framed quote, and that's it. Pretty simple. You already have all the information done. Okay. If you are one of the students that only did one source, you could stop there. If you did a second source. You just do the same thing again with your new information. Okay. So I'll be a little bit more entertaining here this time with the introduction. According to my research, you could use that if you'd like. I'm going to add my quote from right here. We got Captain Smith was being responsible. Add my parentheses. If you chose a web source, you want to use just this section before the .org. Okay, that's your publisher. So blogs.glowscotland.org, which I think is a pretty credible website. You're going to put that in parentheses, add your period, and then you're going to add your explanation. Simple. Okay. So same steps. You guys did all the research in Amplify already, so all you have to do is kind of put it together into a nice paragraph. Okay. Very final thing is I want you to add a picture that's related to your argument. Okay. So I'm talking about Captain Smith in this first paragraph here. So I'm going to search for images from the web. And I'm going to search Captain Smith. Oh, and look who pops up. This is the guy who piloted the Titanic. It's the guy that I'm blaming for the disaster. Now, this is a good image to put in there because, I don't know, we're talking about the guy. Might as well have a picture of him. Okay. In the second paragraph, I'm talking about like a radio operator. I'm talking about large icebergs. Titanic was aware of heavy ice. I think an iceberg picture would work here. So we're going to go to search image again, search from the web, Captain Smith out of there. I got some cool iceberg pictures here. Ooh, here's one with the boat and the iceberg. I like that one. I'm going to add a nice related picture there, put it down there. We're talking about icebergs, talking about boats. I think it works out well. All right. So to summarize, you are taking your Amplify information that you got yesterday. You're taking the source, you're taking the quote, you're taking your explanation, and you're moving it over to the slideshow. Okay. And the first slide, you're going to have your argument. On the second slide, you are going to have your framed quote explaining why you think your argument is true. Okay. If you only did one source, you only need one slide. If you did two, you're going to have two. Okay. In order to do this properly, you're going to need an introduction, then your quote, then where the quote came from in parentheses, and then an explanation. So each frame quote has four things: intro, quote, where it came from, explanation. See my hands? 4. Okay. Thank you.